There's nobody quite like Shohei Ohtani in baseball history. He's a player who consistently redefines what's possible on a baseball field, breaking records and achieving milestones at a pace we've never seen. And this season, in 2025, he's somehow taken his game to an even higher level, putting together a start that is simply historic. But even for a player who seems almost superhuman, baseball has a way of reminding you that anything can happen. And sometimes, baseball is just plain hilarious. And this past week, Shohei Ohtani delivered both historic greatness and perhaps the funniest moment of the season, all in the same night. The setting was Dodger Stadium, and it was a special night, Shohei Ohtani Bobblehead Night. The Bobblehead celebrated his unprecedented 50-homer, 50 stolen base season from 2024, showing him swiping a bag. Fans came out, snagged their bobbleheads, excited to see Ohtani put on a show. And he absolutely delivered on the 50-homer part of the bobblehead theme. Ohtani was on fire with the bat, flexing that incredible power. First, he smacked a ball off A's reliever Jason Alexander 382 feet to the opposite field for a home run in the third inning. Classic Ohtani, using the whole field. Then, just an inning later, he took Alexander deep again, this time crushing a ball 418 feet to center field. 2 homers in 2 innings. This performance tied him for the MLB lead in home runs with 15, showcasing the kind of power that has him on pace for another monster season. And it continued a fun tradition. This was the 3rd straight time Ohtani has homered on his own bobblehead night. He's a marketing dream come true, delivering highlights exactly when the fans are there to celebrate him. The Dodgers' offense as a whole was putting on a clinic against the Athletics. By the late innings, the score was completely out of hand. The Dodgers were leading 17-2. In games this lopsided, it's common practice for teams to put a position player on the mound to save their actual pitchers. It turns the game into a glorified Savannah Bananas affair. As one description put it, more about entertainment and just getting through the final innings than competitive baseball. And that's where Jhonny Pereda, the Athletics catcher, entered the picture. With the game effectively over, Pereda took the mound. What followed was pure, unadulterated baseball comedy. Pereda wasn't throwing hard, mostly just lobbing pitches somewhere between 60 and 70 miles per hour. His mechanics were unique, to say the least. And with every pitch, he'd do this hilarious little backwards trot off the mound. Why the trot? As Pereda himself later explained, he was mostly worried about Ohtani hitting the ball back up the middle, predicting that if Ohtani lined it back at him, "It's going to kill me." That's just self-preservation, folks. Pereda had actually allowed 3 straight hits to the bottom of the Dodgers' order before Ohtani came up. The stage was set for Ohtani to make the 17-2 score even more ridiculous. Maybe hit a grand slam off a position player. Pereda started the at-bat with some slow stuff, sliders identified by StatCast, a curveball, pitches mostly in the 60s. Ohtani fouled off a couple. And then, Pereda decided to mix it up. Amidst the slow stuff, he threw a fastball. It wasn't exactly lightning, coming in at 89 miles per hour. But it was faster than the previous pitches. And it was upstairs. Shohei Ohtani, arguably the greatest player in baseball history. The guy who had already hit 2 homers that night. The guy whose bobblehead celebrating his offensive prowess was given out to thousands of fans. Swung and missed. Foul tip caught. Strike 3. Shohei Ohtani was struck out by a catcher pitching in a blowout game on his own bobblehead night celebrating his hitting. The reaction was priceless. Jhonny Pereda was so happy. He kept the baseball as a souvenir. The crowd at Dodger Stadium, despite their team's massive lead, erupted in laughter and cheers at the sheer absurdity of the moment. It was unexpected, it was bizarre, and it was genuinely funny. The only person not laughing? Shohei Ohtani, ever the fierce competitor. Despite his 2 home runs earlier in the game, he reportedly looked enraged after striking out against Pereda. That competitive fire, that drive to dominate every single plate appearance, is part of what makes him great, even in a moment of comedic relief. This strikeout, as hilarious and unbelievable as it was, exists within the context of a truly historic season for Ohtani at the plate. He is leading MLB in home runs and runs scored, rocking career-high OPS and OPS plus numbers. and setting unique statistical records that showcase his power, speed, and plate discipline. He's on pace for another 50-homer season and could potentially flirt with 40 steals again. He's the early MVP frontrunner, on track to potentially join Barry Bonds as the only player with 3 straight MVP awards. He's even passed Aaron Judge in home runs since the 2024 All-Star break, putting his recent stretch of dominance into perspective against another of the game's best hitters. All of this, remember, is happening while he's still recovering from elbow surgery. He's strictly hitting this season, with his return to the mound still months away after a setback with a shoulder injury. He's putting up these historic offensive numbers purely with his bat. So, that night at Dodger Stadium perfectly encapsulated the two sides of Shohei Ohtani's incredible season. On one hand, you have the historic power, the multi-homer game on his own celebration night, the relentless pursuit of greatness that puts him in the pantheon of all-time hitters. On the other hand, you have the bizarre, humanizing, utterly hilarious moment of getting struck out by a catcher doing his best impression of a pitcher, complete with protective backwards trot. Shohei Ohtani isn't just a great player, he's an experience. He's must-watch TV because he provides both unparalleled dominance and unforgettable, often bizarre, entertainment. His 2025 season is shaping up to be one for the history books. And even its funniest lowlights are somehow legendary. It's the Shohei Ohtani show. And we're all just along for the wild, historic, and occasionally hilarious ride. Shohei Ohtani's bobblehead night for the Los Angeles Dodgers on Thursday was memorable for several reasons, showcasing both his incredible talent and a moment of unexpected, viral baseball humor. The superstar delivered with his bat, but he also provided the other team's catcher with a story he'll tell for a lifetime. Celebrating his historic 50-homer, 50 stolen base season from 2024 with a base-stealing bobblehead giveaway, Ohtani promptly demonstrated his power by launching 2 home runs early in the game against the Oakland Athletics. He hit a 382-foot shot to the opposite field in the 3rd inning, followed by a 418-foot blast to center field in the 4th. These 2 homers were his 14th and 15th of the season, tying him for the major league lead. However, with the Dodgers cruising to a massive 19-2 victory, the game took a hilarious turn in the 8th inning when his catcher Jhonny Pereda took the mound to pitch. Despite allowing a few hits to the bottom of the Dodgers lineup, Pereda found himself facing Ohtani with the chance for a truly unique moment. Pereda mixed in pitches mostly in the 60s and 70s, including sliders and a curveball, but on an 89-mile-per-hour fastball located high, Ohtani swung, and his foul tip was caught by the catcher for a surprising strikeout. It was a moment that brought laughter to the crowd and immense joy to Pereda himself, who was so thrilled he kept the baseball as a souvenir. After the game, Pereda reportedly admitted that Ohtani was the only batter he wanted to face and joked about the danger of Ohtani hitting a ball back at him, predicting it would kill me. Pereda, a minor league journeyman catcher who is currently hitting .188 in limited MLB action this season, now has a truly unique highlight to his name, accomplishing something few pitchers, let alone non-pitchers, can claim, striking out Shohei Ohtani. Adding to the night's flair, this was reportedly the 3rd consecutive time Shohei Ohtani has homered on his own bobblehead night, a fun and quirky trend in his spectacular career. While Ohtani, ever the competitor, reportedly looked frustrated by the strikeout despite his 2 earlier homers, the moment provided a memorable and humorous footnote in what was otherwise a dominant night for the Dodgers.